right, here we go. You know, there's times I just don't do this enough anymore to remember how to do things. I have to give myself a refresher course every time I come on. So we're going to sit here a little bit and see if anybody joins the room before I start talking my smack. I hope everybody that joins is doing well. This damn camera doesn't want to sit where I want it. There we go. Oh, it's so hard sometimes to get all these moving pieces to work correctly. I have some numbers I need to call. I should open my Discord. Where is my icon for Discord? Do I not have, there it is. Yes, Discord. I open all this stuff up and, you know, I don't really get on here that often anymore. People probably forgot about me. And as a result, I don't have many people to talk to. I just saw somebody join as my Discord window hit everything. Instinct rules. With a 1 behind it. All right. All right. Hello. I haven't been here for a while. I don't even remember who I know and who I don't know anymore. But that comes with the old age territory, you know. I hope you are legit, not one of those bot people, because they get kicked off pretty quick. But we won't even worry about that for right now. Just wanted to get on. I got a couple of numbers I want to try and see if I can raise anybody here. This one came in last week. Gotta make sure I turn on this input or you won't hear the phone. All right, let's dial this one up. And I have to mute this while I'm dialing because you shouldn't hear the beeps. You could record them and play them back and all of that. So let me mute you while I dial. These numbers disappear pretty quick. So I anticipate there'll be no answer at this number.
Please hang up and try your call again later. Message KS172.
Yeah, those numbers die off pretty quick. As they make the rounds on the internet and baiters share them and all of that. And that's probably a good thing because that tells us that the phone numbers are getting shut down and they can't bother anybody else. And this one came from a different place and the number's in a different spot. All right, mute again for just a second here. This one's even a day older than that one was, so I don't know if you're going to hear anything. What? Nothing? No answer? Oh, come on. At least fail. I'm going to have to try that one again. Boy, that's a hard no there. That one didn't even bother ringing. All right, we got one more. This is another one saying they're McAfee. All right, here we go. Nope, they're long gone. Man, you got to get these numbers like the minute they come into your email, or they're just not there anymore. Wait, I got one more thing in spam here. Another one got the deceased husband who left money in a non-resident account, and I'm to receive the money. They want me to spend 70% of the money on charity, 30% for myself. Yeah, good luck with that. If I get a windfall, I'm spending it all on myself. You know what I mean? So, all right, apparently that's not going to happen. So I don't need that open right there anymore. I wanted to get on partly to talk about just the state of things. I mean, it is crazy out there. I'm watching all kind of videos on the tube that people are all up in arms. They're canceling their SNAP benefits, so they're not going to have food for Thanksgiving and yada yada yada. Well, first of all, they aren't really just flat out canceling the SNAP benefits. They are catching the frauds. That's kind of a little bit different than canceling, isn't it? All these big fat women getting on YouTube bragging about how much money they get from SNAP. And one of them admitted right on the video that she had lied on her application and shared birth certificates with some other people, and they all claimed the same 6 kids, and actually giggled to say things like, well, none of the last names match no-how, so they ain't gonna catch us. Oh, well, yeah, they kind of are, because now you got to reapply. But the ones that get me are the ones that now go out and they make this proclamation that because of not having their SNAP benefits, they're going to have to cancel Thanksgiving. And my take on that is pretty much just, yeah, okay, what do I care about your Thanksgiving? Seriously, I mean, I really don't. Thanksgiving for me is a 3-pound turkey and tater tots and mac and cheese and cornbread. And I don't even bother to make real gravy. I just buy it out of a jar. All it is football day fuel for my body. I mean, yeah, the traditional part, have a turkey. I don't even really know how that started, but because they've told us all the stories about the first Thanksgiving, and I don't see any factual evidence there was ever a turkey present. I got some right out in my backyard behind the fence. I got turkeys everywhere. Of course, they're not the kind you're going to eat, but, probably full of worms and everything else. And they're actually like turkey buzzards, so they wouldn't be good anyway. But what I have discovered is there's a lot of people, predominantly the younger ones, that just don't understand about simple things like money, and that they all want to have this attitude of, well, I could die tomorrow, so I'm going to live and have all the fun I want to have today. Good plan, but statistically, you're not going to die in your sleep overnight at 25 years of age, unless you do massive amounts of drugs. And you do need to worry about that tomorrow. There was a guy posted a video, and it wasn't AI, it was real because it was in a store. He watched somebody in line in front of him buy cans of tuna fish, a jar of mayonnaise, and a little jar of relish, and some buns. He had some buns too. It was like $9 worth of food, and he actually put it on Klarna. I mean, you put $9 worth of food on a buy now, pay later card, and then you miss the payments. He's going to end up paying like $60 for that $9 or $10 worth of food. People. It's just odd to me that all the people that are complaining about the money, they have money for cigarettes, they have money to go to the bar, they're driving a Mercedes, they're driving a $200,000 Audi or a BMW. I mean, that they've got money for, but nope, they need SNAP to feed their kids. And I've been saying for years, and people think I'm heartless. Well, here's a real tip. Don't have 6 kids when you can't even afford one. One was a young woman in her car talking about she was gonna cancel Thanksgiving because, and I'm gonna try to get it as correct as I can. She said that it was going to be only her and her kids, her sister and her kids, her mama and her auntie. And the first thing in my mind was, I didn't hear a word in there anyway about a man. Nowhere in there did I hear a man, a father of the children for either one of them. What happened to the days? You fathered a kid, you took care of the kid. So many of them, geez, they're either in prison or dead, so it's hard to get child support out of a person that's imprisoned or dead. But yeah, it's just such a thing that SNAP is getting out of control. I mean, I don't know how many of you pay attention to any of the stuff that's on the internet about it, but out of 29 states, and it's really not funny, it's just kind of expected actually, that all the states were asked to provide their SNAP data to the government. The only states that have responded so far, 29 of them, have been the red states. Those liberal blue states, they don't think they want that data to get out because it's going to be a bunch of illegals, and it's going to be a bunch of fraud. And They'll cut that out of. They'll cut that down. Believe me, they'll get that down to where the frauds are going to be gone. It's going to take a while, and eventually they're going to have to press them and have a Supreme Court order drawn up that they must release that data because, after all, it's federal money. But out of the red states, 29 reported, 186,000 so far have been deceased. So 186,000 households are getting money for a dead relative, and that's possibly why they're all so fat. I'm not sure, but they show the carts. These people come home and they take a TikTok and they brag about the haul they got at the Walmart, and it's all like vending machine sized bags of junk food, chips and pretzels and Cheetos and all that kind of stuff. And it's 2-liter bottles of, I'll say, both soda and pop for wherever you are in the world. But where I live, it's pop. And just frozen this and frozen that. And I mean, it's just I guess because it's in their minds easier, they don't want to cook, the people that buy that stuff. But it's not really good to be feeding your kids that junk food all the time. Frozen waffles all the time. Geez, make some waffles, make them fresh, cook. God, I'm an old single man and I cook. I don't waste money on bad food. I have things that are far more important to me than caring whether or not my meal takes 30 seconds to prepare, because I just rip open a package and pour it into a bowl. I actually wish I wasn't such a good cook. I wouldn't weigh this much. But so yeah, it's all of it. It's just people overextending themselves. They don't have money to start with, especially the young ones that are just like 2 years removed from college, and they don't really have a grasp on how the world actually works. And that's kind of sad, but when you go into college and you take a ridiculous major and it doesn't prepare you for anything out in the real world, well, this is what happens. So we got all these unemployed kids running around, and they're 50, 60,000, maybe 100,000 in student debt. And they make their TikToks bragging about, I'm not going to pay them. Yeah, you will eventually. They'll come after you when your Social Security number hits on a job that you're getting paid W-2 wages on. You're going to get garnished, and there's not much you're going to be able to do about it. One of them said that, and if that happened to her, if she got her wages garnished, she'd just quit. And wow, I mean, are kids really that dumb anymore that rather than pay back their loan, they would give up all their income and make nothing? Her answer to that was, well, I'll just then go on unemployment. Not after you quit, you're not. That's if you get fired or laid off or your job gets eliminated. None of that's going to help. One of them they interviewed, it was so funny. And I do spend probably too much time watching that stuff. It's funny in a way that isn't really funny to hear these little kids that don't have a clue. And it's things like, one of them is $80-something thousand in debt. She has 2 more months worth of money to pay her rent on her apartment. That's $2,000 a month. And then she's going to have to move back in with her parents. I wonder how I would handle this situation if my, mid to late 20 child came home saying, oops, tried it on my own, folks. Now I'm going to come back and take advantage of you for several years until I get my life together. I think I'd probably say something like, no, you're not. Yeah, I mean, you're going to go to school and study interpretive dance. I mean, there's a lot of work in the interpretive dance field that pays you anything. Just going to guess here, but I think not. One was a heavily tattooed, heavily pierced Mexican girl. I think she said she was 26 in her video. And they asked her what her major was. It was, Mexican American Studies. You're a natively born Mexican. You lived Mexican American Studies. You didn't have to study that. I mean, call up your grandmother and say, Abuelita, tell me about the old days. That's your Mexican American Studies. There were several that did African American Studies. That I give some credence to, studying your history of your own people. And studying it in a way that you don't just get the stories as handed down from great-grandfather to grandfather to grandfather to you and there to father and you. You can hear a lot of different biases when those stories come down through family members like that. It's the whole walking to school in the snow uphill both ways kind of thing. But yeah, it's rough out there. It's going to get worse. It is going to get worse. Right now we're in the middle of the layoff videos. Thousands of nurses getting laid off. One day you read a study and there's a shortage of nurses, and then you read that there's thousands of them getting laid off. I mean, well, if 1,000 over here are getting laid off, that kind of covers part of the shortage, doesn't it? It's government workers. The irony, I wonder if anybody actually sees the irony that these young computer geniuses, and they are, some of them are just fantastic, these software engineers, they go to college, they come out with their degrees, and then they go to work for a Microsoft or a Google or somebody like that. And they sit in an office for 9 hours a day and they code AI projects. And they do all these things to automate tasks, and then their own AI bot fires them. I just, the irony of all irony is there. And, they get their severance and they're just happy as could be, blowing it on vacations and trips and stuff. And then that found money runs out, and then they're struggling again. I've been making the argument for years of trade schools versus college. And college is great if you get a major that matters. My first major was music. And unless you're gonna teach, that's one of the worst majors I can think of. I came out of that college, I finished in 3 years, and I didn't come out of there playing any better than 3 years of practice on my own would have done for me. So I don't know why I did that. Other than it was the only thing I knew how to do. I went to college right after the military, which was essentially why I went into the military at all. And I sat down with a counselor and said, well, what do you like? Music's the only thing I really know. I've been playing since I was 5. So, well, we can put you in the music major program. Fantastic, let's do this. And I started taking all these classes that I was actually overqualified to teach, much less attend. My first class meeting, I went in and there was Miss Jones. God, she was a nice lady. She was a good teacher as far as I knew. I lasted one class period, and I went up and I asked if I could test through the class. She said, this is the first class meeting. I told her, look, I'm sure you're good at what you do and all of that, but I've been playing for 17 years already. I don't need you to show me where middle C is on a keyboard. So I tested through a whole bunch of classes and got a lot of early level stuff out of the way in like a space of 8 days or so. That's what let me finish in 3 years. That and all the free stuff you get for being in the military. You don't have to take phys ed courses, and you don't have to take any social studies courses. You get free credits for all of those. So with the 6 music classes that I tested through, I had 30 credits there. I got 12 free for phys ed because they considered the military time where you're constantly getting training in. That was life experience versus classroom experience. So I got those 12 for free. The social studies credits, world politics and all that kind of stuff. Those were all found money as well. It was just, okay, 12 credits, here you go. So I had like 54 credits after my first 10 days of college. So that helped me get through it pretty quick. I did learn a lot about deeper corners of music theory that I wouldn't have learned on my own because I never would have known to look at them. I mean, there's modes of music, the different scales and all that kind of stuff that I knew a lot of, but I didn't know that I knew them. But that degree is, unless you want to teach, that's not a really good degree to pursue. And I surely didn't want to teach. I just wanted to go play in bands and pick up girls, pretty much. So when you look at the kids in school and what they're taking, some of these degree fields shouldn't even be offered. I mean, they're a waste of time and money, although, colleges are a business. Without customers, businesses fail, so they want to keep you in college as long as they can. You're down to 2 courses left to complete your degree program. Oh, those classes aren't both offered in the same period, so you could take one now and then one in the next quarter, and to keep up your grant, you need to take 12 hours every quarter, so here's what we can do. Now they got you on the hook for 6 more months. But some of them that I've heard, they come out of college with this pie in the sky illusion of what life is going to be like. And there's a guy, and I don't do plugs for channels here, so I won't mention the YouTube channels or the Twitch channels or any of that. And I don't do like TikTok or Instagram. I don't even have those. But this guy does financial audits with people and looks at their current standing and gives them advice on how to fix the problems. And they have problems or they wouldn't be on his channel. So all of them come out. One of them said that she wanted to be a nail technician. And that was going to be her career field. Now, I'm sure it works out in places that have people with expendable money to be going into a nail salon spending $200. You might even own your own business someday and have four nail techs working for you rather than you actually doing the work. But that's not going to happen in your first 6 months of operation. Come on, be real. And she just continued to argue that, well, my book has 18 slots per week. And the interviewer kept asking about how many of them are filled. Well, right now it's a little slow as people get to know me. Then it went on, how do people get to know you? Well, I have to go to these shows and set up a stand in the show and have somebody come in and give them a free nail job, and people will see my work, and that's how I pick up clients. And she had just finished 2 shows the month before, and the easy question was, and how many clients did you pick up from those shows? Well, a lot of people took my business card, and that wasn't the question. How many clients did you pick up? And it took about 4 times asking the same question until she admitted none. So at this point, you have 0 income and you're paying overhead for a shop. And the girl was just so, she was more interested in arguing with him than she was in actually addressing her problems. And every point he made, she had a reason for him being wrong. She had an excuse. And it was just, oh my God, you're doomed. You're just totally doomed. The thing you do is you go to work for somebody for a year or 2. And if you're good, your star will shine on its own, no matter where you do it. But at least when you're working for somebody else's salon, people are coming in the door and seeing you, seeing your work, and you don't just have to go tell everybody I'm the best. One guy was some little, I don't know what he was, and he kept saying that he was going to be rich because he's driven. He's driven. It's in the cards for me. I'm just going to be a multi-millionaire. And he did, like, you know how somebody doesn't have any kind of a job because they don't have any real skill, so they learn little things. Well, this guy bought stuff like an etching printer, and he made keychains, and he would etch whatever you wanted written on your keychain. And he did T-shirts on a silkscreen machine in his basement. And all these little things that people would do for side money, supplemental income, he was doing them and trying to make a business out of it. And when he did his audit, $89,000 in debt. 25 years old, living with 3 other guys in a flea bag in a downtown part of, a rundown part of their downtown area. Won't identify the city, but it's west, where all the liberals live. So those are the kind of things I see a lot, and I just wonder, who raised you people? But when you start to think back, these are the Gen Zers, all right? So they're the children of the Gen Y, and they're the children of the baby boomers. And where did that disconnect come from? The baby boomer people to their own children, that hard work and common sense is the key, not just dreams. But somewhere that happened, and now we got a bunch of kids with dreams and hopes and ideal situations in their heads that likely aren't going to happen. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I'm just sorry I'm close to the finish line like I am, that I won't be around for another 20 or so years to watch how this all collapses. Yet, just since I've had my house, I've needed a plumber, I've needed an electrician. I've needed a guy to come and install laminate floors. I've needed painting. And all those tradespeople, when you call them, you got about a week wait before they can even come and see your job. The interpretive dancers, I'm sure they're available right away. You know, and you people get these grants to find out things like, why pandas get boners. I mean, such meaningless stuff out there anymore that everybody wants that to be their dream. There's a rare situation where people are actually going to make a living out of their hobby. You can take your hobby and call it your passion, but that doesn't make it viable. My passion was music, and I chunked my way along until I when I quit playing. I quit playing full time in 1993. Yeah, 93 became 94. That New Year's Eve was the last time I played in a situation where I considered myself a full-time musician. I was, I don't know, in my 40s and some spot in my 40s, and I just realized, it's time to get a big boy job. If you ever want to have anything of your own, a decent car that's reliable, and quit hoarding all these instruments that pretty much hang in your little home studio that's never getting used again, and all of that stuff. So I went that route, and I got into IT, and I did pretty well. I worked in IT until I was 62, and then I retired as quick as I can. I was like 62 years and 17 days of age when I retired. I just didn't want to go to work anymore. And make no mistake, I'm generally kind of a lazy guy. I mean, now I use my old age as an excuse for being lazy. Well, I don't mow my own lawn because my legs are not what they used to be, and part of my yard is on a hill, and I can't really walk side hill that way. I've already got a replaced knee, and that's not a good thing for me to be walking up and down hills and walking that much. And when you zig and zag this yard to cut those 22-inch wide paths that the mower will cut at one time, that's well over 1.5 miles to 2 miles. So I don't do that anymore. I've got somebody else that mows it for me. And like I say, there were times in younger years that something would break, and that would be an opportunity for me to learn. And I would take the broken thing apart and look for a broken gear or a spring that had come disconnected or whatever the situation might be. A fuse that was blown. I could troubleshoot, I could diagnose. I mean, I was an outstanding computer technician. I worked at server level and put networks into businesses and all of that stuff. So that was a very good field for me because I'd been doing it for so long on my own. It wasn't until I was older I thought I could charge people for this. And that's what I did. In addition to working a full-time job, I had a side business that I focused my advertising on seniors. I advertised in senior newspapers. And seniors, in fact, because they typically didn't grow up with a computer in their crib, and it was all really foreign to them what was going on. Concept of memory versus hard drive was something lost to them. Hard drive is not your memory, and blah, blah, blah. So I did pretty well, and recently, just as like a little fun exercise for myself, I went through and looked up a bunch of my customers and now I'm well into my senior life, they're all gone. I mean, there's not one customer left. And I had a pretty good roster of people that would call me with some regularity. When I got them well enough versed with things that they could trust their instincts and trust me to not hurt them, it'd be like, okay, I can fix that right from here at my desk, but you need to work with me here and download a piece of software. And I would have them download one of the remote control clients, again, with no sponsors. I won't name any of them. So they'd let me connect to their computer from my office here at home, and I'd fix the problem, and they would mail me a check. Did fairly well with that side business, but now I don't do any of it. I just go day to day wondering, what should I do today? Because I can do any frickin' thing I want to. I can do nothing if I choose to do nothing. It's a great life as a retiree, but when you're 25, that's not your reality. So if you've got kids, urge them to understand the difference between a hobby and a passion. You know, your hobby may be painting pictures of whatever pastoral scenes or a fruit bowl, but very few of them are going to end up in the Louvre. You know what I'm saying? So unless you've got a way to turn that art into income, that's your hobby. It's not your avocation. So it's a strange time. Government changes keep coming down the pipe, and I'm eager to see what happens now when they force all the SNAP people to reapply. How many of them are going to lose their benefits? And all it's going to turn into, I'm pretty sure, is just more and more looting and more stores closing, more and more crime and all of that. So we're locked and loaded here at all times, just in case. And I hope it doesn't go that route. Sometimes people need to understand, yes, you have to get a job. I know, as distasteful as it is to you, that you can't lay around your house all day when you're a young, able-bodied person and let Joe Biden mentality take care of you, Gavin Newsom mentality take care of you. I'll give that guy credit for only one thing. He's a great con man. Oh my God, he's got those people in Los Angeles where they had a fire last year that burned half of their city down, and he's telling them that everything's great. While he released water from the reservoirs into the ocean, he told the LA mayor what to say and what not to say for a tidy sum of money. It's just horribly corrupt out there, and those blue vote people just keep eating whatever he shovels into their bowl. It'll come down eventually. Everything tends to rise to the top after time, so we'll see what happens out there. So I'm not getting any calls for scam baiting, and I have no more numbers to call. I've tried a couple quietly in the background as I've done this video. So yeah, mainly venting today. I hope everybody has the best Thanksgiving that they can possibly have. And enjoy your family if you're going to visit with them. And I once again will not be, because not only am I a total introvert, if you knew my family, you wouldn't visit with them either. My only sibling to whom I have not spoken in 23 years. The only thing I look at her as positivity is she's 5 years older than me and she's still kicking. So if if she's the age that she is, I should be able to catch her. That'll give me a little more time to do some things that, there's fish out there that still need to be caught. There's paper targets that I need to punch holes in, and all of that kind of stuff. Some really good financial planning has me in a fairly good place. My most major expense will likely go away by August or September of 2026. So that'll change my perspective on finance and spending greatly when that happens. So I'm just so happy to not be a young child of 25 in this lifetime. In their reality in 2025. Man, oh man, it's going to be really hard for you. It really is. There's not going to be jobs because AI is so prevalent. I mean, even the scammers now are lazy. They have AI dialers making the dialing for them. Little fun tip: when you get a phone call and you answer it and you know because of the delay that it's an AI robot, they'll say hello. If you don't answer, they'll say hello. I answer my phone with yes or yeah. Because the other end where the AI is, they're waiting to hear the word hello. And if you don't say hello, their little recording of what their lie is doesn't get the opportunity to start. The latest ones now are Medicare. They're telling you that your state, without saying what your state is, has passed new plans and you might be missing out on benefits. It's total BS. There's one for home warranty. There's always the one for car warranty. There's one that is always a guy named John who comes out saying that he's calling on behalf of some police benevolent association, and month to month he'll call up and with a different name. It's John, it's William, it's David, it's Thomas. They change names, but I got a pretty good ear for sound and voices and such, and it's always the same guy. And he's a recording, and if you ask questions, they'll hang up. And if you do get a real scammer, this is the tip I give everybody: don't entertain them. Stop and think, does this sound like it's logical and could even be real? That Amazon or Visa fraud department or anybody would ever call me? The answer is no, and hang up the phone. If you hang up, they likely won't call you back. The extortion scam, which is they call up and say they're your grandkid and they're in jail and they need money and blah, blah, blah. The way you treat that one is, okay, we have set up a family emergency code word. What is that word? And they'll either quickly hang up or they'll curse at you and then they'll hang up. But always question, never comply with those phone calls because they're always scams. I'm going to show you something here. These people here, they will never, these people here, I'm sorry, wrong list. These people will never call you. Microsoft's not going to call you. Amazon, Norton, McAfee, PayPal, eBay, Medicare, banks. Your bank will never call you. Your cable provider, Spectrum's a big one. They try to call you and say that they're going to give you a discount. Social Security will never ever call you. Customs and Border Patrol, the FTC, the Drug Enforcement, the IRS. None of these people will ever call you. They will say, particularly Amazon here, and the credit card companies, They will try to tell you there's been a fraudulent account or a fraudulent transaction on your account. Just ask them, what's my name? And they won't have an answer. And again, they seem to think that the answer to everything is to act like a 12-year-old kid on the schoolyard and curse at you in Hindi. If you hear the word Mardar Chod, just hang up the phone, because that's not a nice word. But these are the nevers. These are going to protect you. Never let anybody connect to your computer or your cell phone. They push for oh wait, I gotta get rid of this chatter. He's a bot. What is he trying to sell here? Hold on 1 second. All right, yeah, so they'll ask for ID. They want you to send a picture of your front and back of your license. Never do that. Never go to a bank and withdraw cash for payment. Never buy gift cards. Mainly, again, never let anybody connect to your computer or your phone. Never go to an ATM, a Bitcoin ATM. And if you want a support number for your bank or something like that, never get it from the web. Look at the back of your credit card or your statement and call that number. Never wire anybody, bank transfer kind of thing. Never do that. And once again, never let anybody connect to your computer. That's so important that you remember that one. That'll cut down the possibility that you're going to get scammed by a large margin. Someday I'm going to record my whole presentation that I give to people at senior centers. When they let me in, they think I'm the scammer for some reason. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I got to go get rid of a bot that tried to crash my channel. And I will see you again on the next one. I hope everybody has a good day. And those of you who do celebrate Thanksgiving, you enjoy it. And I will talk to you again soon.